Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. I'm here on Wednesday, May 8th, at the beautiful Merestead Estate in the town of Bedford, bordering the village town of Mount Kisco, to sign into law two documents that will really step this progress of making the Merestead facility a more accessible and modernized facility for the benefit of people in all of Westchester County, as well as in these two particular communities. The actions that I'm going to take today is the product of a long, drawn-out process. We'll talk a little bit about this estate, but I want to particularly thank the hard work of John Nona and the Law Department of Westchester County, along with many other players, in getting us to this day where we can implement that which is going to be necessary to put money into this facility and to start to move it in the direction that is wanted by the people who live here. We're joined today in our group by the supervisor of the town of Bedford, Ellen Calvez, by the mayor of the village of Mount Kisco, Mike Sindrich. We also have with us Brett Summers, who's a former member of the school board and now serves as both a member of the county and the town board of ethics. We have with us members from the the Merestead Conservancy, and John Stockbridge notably amongst them, who's the town historian, very active in that group, and other groups that are involved. In a few minutes, you'll hear from Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, County Legislator Erica Pierce, our immediate past county legislator, Kitley Koval, who had much of the vision for what we're doing, to be with us here today. I want to make sure that we thank not only the county attorney's office, but the office of our state attorney general, Letitia James, who was very critical in the negotiations that led to this moment. We appreciate the work of the Board of Legislators at the advocacy of both Erica Pierce and Kitley Koval, but under the leadership of Board Chairman Vedat Gashi. We also want to thank Judge David Everett and his law secretary, particularly Michael Wright, who was involved in the mediation efforts that got this to a final product. None of these things are very easy. It takes time and it takes a lot of hard work, and a lot of people put a lot of work in to get us to this point today. I want to recognize from our team as well Aviva Meyer, who is a Director of Policy and Program, part of the operations team of Joan McDonald and Emily Saltzman for her work in making all of this happen. Also Jason Klein, who is one of the top leaders of the Parks Recreation Department as well, who supervises much of what happens here. We're joined by the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Kathy O'Connor, and by her first deputy, Peter Tartaglia, who will be speaking in a few minutes. The acts that I'm going to sign into law today include a bond act for the restoration of the farmhouse here at Merestead Park. That bond act is totaling $1.5 million, and it also included $400,000 in previously authorized bonds from the county to finance the capital project, which encompasses the Merestead outbuildings, not the main building, but the other buildings outside of this one. The bond act finances the cost of additional design, construction, and construction administration services associated with the restoration of the farmhouse. The signing of the bond act comes on the heels of an important development regarding this property. A judge has signed an order lifting and modifying select longstanding restrictions at the county's request that's consistent with the intent and purposes of the donors. And the donors are Dr. Robert Lee Patterson, Jr. and Margaret Sloan Patterson. This was their homestead. This is where they came at the end of a day, and they were gracious enough to grant this to the county, and for many years it lay fallow. It laid without a sense of vision, without a sense of purpose, and without sufficient resources to bring it to the current status. And this landmark decision was an important advancement for the county. It grants greater autonomy over the management of Merestead. It unlocks crucial funds, but it still keeps it under the watchful eye of the State Attorney General's office. So the things that we do are the things that we've committed to do to improve the property within the context, as I said earlier, of what the community and the people of this area want to see happen. The order empowers the county with increased control over the parkland. It releases the majority of funds from trust accounts associated with Merestead for use at Merestead. It enables the county to draw 5% per year for ongoing maintenance and development projects. It introduces a collection management policy, providing a structured approach to managing Merestead's valuable assets, including artwork and other items of great value that are here as part of this great estate. The lifting of these restrictions and the release of funds means that the county can now fully move forward on initiatives aimed at enhancing Merestead's facilities and services. And this is where the Merestead Conservancy, the neighbors, the town government, the neighboring village government will all have an important say in what the future of this facility is, that it can move forward instead of sort of laying in some version of limbo. For the history, Merestead is the Scottish word for farmland, and this is listed on the National Register of Historic Properties. It is the former estate of William Sloan, who passed away in 1922. He was president of W&J Sloan, a major business that we're all well familiar with. His daughter, Margaret Sloan Patterson, lived here, and she passed on in the year 2000. This is a 130-acre estate. It consists of farmlands, woods, gardens, and buildings, including 1906 Georgian Revival House, which was designed by architects Delano and Aldrich. Those are famous middle and last names of Nelson Rockefeller's family and also Franklin Roosevelt's family. Margaret Sloan Patterson and her husband, Dr. Robert L. Patterson, bequeathed Merestead to the County of Westchester to be used as a park and an historic house museum. And that was a number of years ago. So we are now in a situation where, since the passage of Mrs. Patterson in August of 2000, we're now 24 years after that, but we are making progress. As was promised when we had a meeting here to discuss what the future of Merestead should be. I'd like to invite next our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins, to share some of his thoughts, and then we'll go to the two legislators, the current legislator and the immediate past legislator, who were the driving force behind us getting to this day. First, our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins.
So besides the ghosts of the Pattersons that closed the door for us, which was very helpful at this particular point in time, this is just such a wonderful opportunity, and it shows that the energy and the effort for all of the people that have been engaged, for the town, for the village, for everyone, for John Stockton and so many other folks that have been engaged in trying to ensure that the history not only was preserved, but the county continued to do its efforts to try to maintain it as best as possible. Aviva Meyer and before both Legislator Lang Pierce and Legislator Koval, Legislator Harcum and I, with Legislator then John Nona, had the opportunity to have some fun and enjoy the conversations around Merestead and the conversations between the award-winning and nationally accredited award-winning park system. There was all these kind of conversations with Commissioner's predecessor, Joe Stout, when we first became on the board in 2007. So when you have these opportunities, it was the first committee that I had the privilege to chair was Public Works, Parks, Labor, and Transportation. And when Pete became a member of the Board of Legislators with Legislator John Nona, we had a lot of conversation about Merestead. And as I said, when we had the community meeting here, another hallmark of the Latimer administration, the county executive, making sure that we hear every voice and every person to have this conversation in the room behind us when we were here. I said the same thing then. I said we fought so much battles for Merestead, and quite frankly, I never put a foot on the property because it was just the responsibility of county government and the kind of things that we all felt strongly about was preserving that history, preserving our park system, and continuing to enhance it. And that was one of the vetoes, the first vetoes in the previous administration, if I remember correctly, about the money that we were trying to install here and have happen. It was $3.6 million, and then the previous county executive vetoed that, and they only kept the $500,000 for planning. Eventually, we have invested in the Merestead complex, almost $20 million of Westchester County money. So between this building, all right, between the outhouse and the new facilities that County Executive Latimer is going to sign off today, there is no question that this administration, this county is going to continue to make sure that not only are those properties preserved as it was the intention, but more importantly, that the people of Westchester will be able to enjoy the wonderful trails that are here and be able to preserve and see that history as well. Legislator Koval had the battles. Pete Harcum started those battles, but Legislator Koval actually got them done. We stood outside a couple of years ago in not quite this weather today. It was a little bit higher than 80 degrees, and it was really humid, and County Executive Latimer and myself were looking like we do now, which is totally inappropriate for being out here, so everyone continues to say that. But this is the kind of thing that happens when you have the committed county government that's working in partnership with the town and with the village to make sure that everyone's voice is heard. So again, this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, but we cannot walk away without saying, because of the county executive's leadership and making sure that we did those investments, right, to get to the place that we are, that we were able to go to the state attorney general, work with Nancy Cervenko and the entire family as a coalition to be able to get here today. And it doesn't happen without the outstanding work of my good friend, our county attorney, and then legislator John Nona, to be able to help navigate this particular process. The patience and understanding and leadership that County Executive Latimer has helped to do is why we're here today. And again, congratulations to everyone that had a little hand or a big hand in getting this done today. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to hear from the current and the immediate past county legislators who represent this area, the 6 towns in northeastern Westchester, and from Erica, and to be followed by Kitley, to talk about the energy and the effort they put into making this happen, working through the legislative process. I'd point out, I served as a county legislator as well many years ago and represented an area down county, but I know as I've traveled in this area of the county, both when I was chairman of the board and then again as county executive, there's a sense that White Plains is a long way away from where we stand and is somewhere between ignorant and uninterested in what happens here. And the legislators that you send to the county legislature are your voices there. That's what you want for representation. Both of these two individuals and their predecessors have spoken up strongly and have created that energy necessary for us to work through the problems to get to this day. And so I credit them greatly, and we'll begin with our current legislator, Erica Lang-Pierce.
Thank you, everyone. Today is a really special day, and I'm glad that the weather has behaved. I don't know if everyone can stay a little while to walk the beautiful fields, but this truly is a magical place. And I view myself as being a big user of our county park system, but if I go back 10 years, I didn't even know this was here, and I've lived here for well over 20 years. The first I heard about it was from John Stockbridge, who's sitting here in the audience and who has really fought so hard to keep Merestead alive in front of mine, but I had not stepped foot here until my predecessor, Kitley Koval, took me here. Kitley, who has really been the true knight to get this battle going. And so, that is this, it is amazing to me to think that I could live in this community for over 20 years, to have this magnificent park here, and nobody was coming. Nobody knew about it. The park had just been sitting here quietly, a county asset in desperate need of care, and also in need of a purpose. And in 2020, with obviously our county executives' help, the county began to give that care, starting with the enveloping of this beautiful building, which we're standing in right now. But what we still didn't have was clarity of purpose, and it's very hard to figure out how to fix the inside of these buildings or how to move forward in a way that's fiscally prudent without purpose. And this settlement is so critical to helping us identify and organize that purpose. And without, again, that purpose, that we don't really have a path forward to really set this park spinning for all of us who live in Westchester County. And so this is why today is such a really special day. I want to take a moment to read a few words from Nancy Sevchenko. She was mentioned already by our county executive and deputy county executive. She's the daughter of the Pattersons who willed this property to Westchester County. And these are her words. "I wish I could be at Merestead today to join you all and to convey in person how delighted I am that a way has been found for Westchester County to move ahead with long-term plans for Merestead. Lengthy discussions between the county, its Parks Department, and the Office of the Attorney General of the State of New York have resulted in a fine document that conforms with my mother's vision for Merestead, yet adapts it to the modern era, my mother's, as I know she would have wanted." Nancy also mentioned how important preserving the land here was to her mother and how grateful she was and her mother would she still be with us, although we did see the door slam, so maybe she is still with us, that we, the county, are doing what is needed to be done to make certain that this park and the parcel here continues to be preserved and so that it can be enjoyed by many, many others, as that family had enjoyed it for many years. And before I get to my thank yous, we've had so many meetings about uses and potential opportunities for collaboration here. I just want everyone to imagine this place. These are potentials, right? Native plants growing in the beautiful fields, student groups coming and going, learning about this incredibly rich environment and the history here. Art shows, small ensembles playing in the barn down the hill. Perhaps painters with easels sitting underneath the wolf trees, and if you don't know the wolf trees up on the hilltop, you really want to go up there and see them. I mean, truly, this really is a magical place, and I encourage everyone here to come back and come back and come back again. I again want to thank, of course, Kitley Koval, my predecessor, for really getting this project going. As to use one of her own phrase, she truly was a dog on a pant leg for Merestead and made certain that nobody would forget about this place, which meant that she was building on the incredible work John Stockbridge had done for years in keeping Merestead alive. I want to thank our county executive and our deputy county executive and our entire Parks Department, Kathy, Peter, and Jason Klein, who's in the back, because without their participation as well, none of this would have happened. My colleagues at the board, of course, and to the county attorney, as mentioned, the AG, and Nancy Sevchenko, who I spent many, many hours with, both here in this building and touring our other parks in the system, so she could see the amazing work that Westchester County does in its parks. And to our new Merestead Conservancy, who are here today and are committed to helping Merestead. A big thank you as well to our state partners, Pete Harcum, Chris Burdick, as well as Shelley Mayer and David Buchwald, for providing funding for the farmhouse restoration. Really important, again, this piece of building partnerships to guarantee Merestead's success. This is not the end of the marathon, but the end of a critical leg in this race, and I can't wait to get to work on the farmhouse and to build a sustainable plan for Merestead that allows the residents of Westchester to benefit from its incredible beauty. So thank you, everyone, for helping us get to this day.
Wow. Little Oscar-ish. I'd like to thank everyone, but it's true. It really took a village. And I think that when I was elected, probably 2 days later, somebody brought me here, and it was like walking into a Dickens novel. It looked like Miss Havisham was still going to walk out in a dress, literally in a wedding gown, which was already spread out on the bed. It really is a remarkable, incredible place. I think we do see now that with restrictions lifted, the dog on a pant leg can actually come here, as opposed to being prevented from bringing dogs here. So I won't go into re-thanking everyone. I have to say, just as a tiny little shout out, because I'm a lawyer, John, you did an amazing job. Talk about a dog on a pant leg. Really, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Peter Tartaglia, First Deputy Commissioner of Parks. First of all, thank you to our Commissioner, Kathy O'Connor, who is a forward thinker as the Commissioner of our department, and that's why we're able to do a lot of what we do here. I can't thank everyone again. Nancy Cervenko really is the family member that we have been in touch with over these years and has been extremely very helpful. I have to, John Nona, and then I'm going to stop thank yous. John is our county attorney, for the entire county, but he's an attorney, my experience in our Parks Department, he listens to what our needs are and, what our vision is, and he works with us no matter what the cause of the case, not just what's going on in Merestead. And Dave Crockett and his crew who run this park, Dave's somewhere around here, so thank you to them too. I think you can see we don't give up on our parks, and we shouldn't. Sometimes we're delayed, things happen, things like COVID, things like someone who doesn't want to spend money, whatever may happen. But it's not spending money, as the county executive and deputy county executive said. We own these places. The investment is for the public. It's not a personal investment. It's for the people who should be coming here. This is open space. This is a beautiful park. The vision is starting to unfold, but this can only happen with a functioning government on every level, which you've heard from, and also to a new friends group who has been careful and thoughtful the few times I've spoken with you, and I know the meetings you have every month, and I see the minutes afterward, about not going too fast, not going too slow, listening, and let's come up with a way to do this all together. And that's what we're hoping for here. This is the People's Park. This is another Westchester County park. So Merestead is fully now operated by the Parks Department. We're happy to be doing that. Thank you.
In a second, I'm going to sign the two pieces of legislation. I'd like both John Nona and Ellen Calvez to join us up here as well. We have some ceremonial pens that we're going to present, and when I do, as I sign it, I'm going to present one to Erica and one to Kitley for their legislative work one to John for his legal work, and one to Ellen as the host community to show the partnership that we have with the town on this and other issues. It's important to understand that I understand, for all of my years in public office, how cynical people are about government. I hear it every day. I don't live in a bubble. When I pump gas, people will talk to me and they'll tell me what they think, and what they think may not relate to any one particular level of government, but they're very clear about what they think government hasn't done. Someone will yell out to me, "Fix those roads," or "You're raising my taxes," and we haven't actually as a county government, but regardless of that, they haven't differentiated it. The need to accomplish things, to show things have actually improved in the real world, is essential if this democracy is going to survive. 6.5 years ago, this administration came into play. We saw at the Miller House, Washington headquarters down on Virginia Road in North Castle, a building that was on the verge of collapse, and there was a blue tarp over the top of it, a building that George Washington had lived in during the Battle of White Plains. We saw a memorial field, a field in Mount Vernon that was used for sporting events and public events of concerts and so forth, that had stopped being a mecca for the community and turned into an illegal dumping ground. We saw 2 pools at Sprain Ridge Park in Yonkers on the Greenberg border that had laid empty for 7 years. No water in the pool, no kids swimming in the pool. We saw a decrepit New Rochelle family court that was on the verge of being condemned, and White Plains Court Administration would close down a New Rochelle branch, which was essential for the people of New Rochelle and Mount Vernon, and the North and the South County Trailways. On and on and on, signs where government did not do its job. And whether it was at Lasden Estate, Hilltop Hanover, or here at Merestead, opportunities that were missed. I want you to get this. Opportunities that were missed as we kick the can down the road. Today is one of those days where we have not completed the tasks at Merestead. We have completed Memorial Field. We've completed the renovations and the fixing of Miller House. We've completed the North and South County Trailways. We've refilled, and now for 6 years, have had kids in those pools at Sprain Ridge. These are commitments that we make, not as a government, but as a society. These 50-plus parks that we have are made so that people can enjoy them, not so that they can stand as a living testimony for the government's inability to act. It's complicated. I'm not the lawyer that John Nona is. I'm not the financing expert that Karen Hablow on our team is, or our budget director, but I understand, we all understand the political will that's necessary to accomplish something. When there are barriers in the way, sometimes they're real barriers, sometimes they're perception barriers. We have to work through them. And here at Merestead, to get this place to what it can be, will take more barriers to be overcome. And that will be overcome in a dialogue of partnership between the town and the neighboring village, the people of these communities, those active in the conservancy, those who are physical neighbors of the property, all of those things we intend to work through. And if you doubt it, take a trip down to Mount Vernon and take a look at Memorial Field. If you doubt it, go to Sprain Ridge to see what those pools like. If you doubt it, go to Virginia Road and see what we've been able to reclaim in that historic site and what's being used at that site. Or to Hilltop Hanover, a little closer by in Yorktown. Or the improvements in Lasden that we've made. All of these things are commitments that are being made and being fulfilled. And as I sign this document, I intend for these to happen here. And let me also say something which you may know. I'm term limited in this position. I actually authored the bill that term limited to 2 terms, and I obviously will honor it at that period of time. It is not about an individual. It is about what we do collectively. I actually don't see us as particular leaders. I see us as stewards. What the Sloan family and the Patterson family did here was their accomplishment, and they turned it over to a government to protect it. They're the ones that have made the great sacrifice. We're the stewards that have to protect it. We have to make it available so that young children today will have benefit of this. And it won't matter that somewhere along the line were a group of officials that helped save it. Just like what happened at the Miller House was about George Washington and about the Battle of White Plains, not about George Latimer. And that's important to understand. What we're doing today is not about us. It's about something we're doing that matters over the long haul. And the people in the town of Bedford, the leadership of the town of Bedford, the people in the Conservancy, our professionals in the Parks Department, I have ultimate faith that you will work through the problems ahead. We'll have operational programs that can work here along the lines of what Erica envisioned, and that at some future point in time, I will be watching on television as a private citizen, and I'll see the next stage of Merestead. And that will make me very happy. Let me sign this into law. Yes, Mike, come on up. You got some extra pens for Nancy as well. My voice isn't amplified on television, but for those in the room, the first document is the Bond Act, which allocates the $1.5 million, including the $400,000 previously allocated. This act is, local law is identified as Local Law 149 for the year 2024. It was approved by the Board of Legislators unanimously on the 29th day of April, and today is the 8th day of the month of May. And once you proclaim that, you can put it up on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
By the authority given to me by the people of Westchester, that is now law. And we have legislation that is passed through the Board of Legislators by the various respective committees. Looks like Law and Major Contract Budget and Appropriations have authorized this. And this gives, in some detail, that which was negotiated and agreed upon with the State Attorney General, our law department, and all the other individuals that were involved. And this act was also passed by the Board of Legislators also on the 29th of April, unanimously 16 votes for and 0 votes against. And on today, the 8th day of May, this too is now law.
Thank you.
Kitley
Thank you.
Huge thank you.
and John, outstanding work.
Just doing my job.
Thank you very much. Mike, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Back.